The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. This is, of course, the 23rd Psalm, and my bet is that you already knew that, because there is maybe no other group of words, maybe no other text in the entirety of our lives that we hear as often as this one, or that is filled with God's presence, or that the Spirit has taken up and written into our souls more than the 23rd Psalm. Today, I'm relieved to have the 23rd Psalm be the psalm for this upcoming Sunday, October 11th. It's the 19th Sunday after Pentecost, and it is a joy for me to sit with this text that has been filled with so many memories and so many days of my life. The 23rd Psalm is a psalm that I read or share, or that is read at almost every funeral that I go to or participate in. It has been read at so many funerals that I've been a part of in this place. And it is a text that goes with us the whole of our lives and helps us sum up what we're hoping for in the future when God takes us to live with all the saints. There is part of that. But I love this psalm today because it's also a psalm about living. And the Spirit uses this, and the Spirit writes this on our souls to go with us all the days of our lives, and not just waiting all the way up until our funeral, although it's there for us then and after then too. But it seems to be scripture filled with life, and it's really a joy to be able to sit with it for a little while. I don't know if we think a lot about what it means for the Lord to be our shepherd. We're not really shepherded anymore, I guess, or we don't really see shepherds that much anymore. Maybe we say, the Lord is the crossing guard of my children. Maybe we say, the Lord is the gateway to our work or to our homes. Maybe we say, the Lord is a greeter at a store. Maybe we say the Lord is something that just sits in front of us, and when we are sort of going about the routine of our day, we glance over, or God breaks into our lives and reminds us that our day belongs to God. This part about not wanting is interesting because I want all sorts of things. And so I need to hear this as a bit of a reminder that I want safety, and I want the safety of others. I kind of just want to get back to normal. I want to get through all the stuff that's taken over what we talk about and media, and I want to get back to something. I want things to feel good about, so I want a lot. And so maybe this is really just saying to me, when I see that moment of God's care, it's time to take a break and to not be pressed from all sides by my wants. I shall not want, because I know God is there to provide and to care for me. The lying down in green pastures and the being led beside still waters, well, I don't really lie down in green pastures, but I love being in them. I grew up by a lake, and the lake was pretty still, and so that comes to mind. I think of my cup of water in the morning, and I try to drink a cup of water every morning to try to help me get through the day. I think of this font that it sits in our midst and that we're told God's presence comes into in our baptism. So much is evoked for me, and I'm remembering again just how sacred and lifelong this 23rd Psalm is. I like the idea of being led along the right path for God's sake, that we are filled with God's Spirit and we are made God's own, and that God will keep us on the right path, even though there are so many other things that would keep us or distract us or make us feel lost. It's a great vote of confidence to be reminded that we are God's, and that God promises that we're not going to go astray, because God keeps us and guides us and crops up in those little subtle ways throughout our day, and God is going to keep us today. And so this becomes a great psalm for living. Even though we walk through the darkest valley, I don't know that I need to talk about that a whole lot. All you have to do is think about how your last week or month or few months have gone, and you know what that could be talking about. This thing about in the presence of our enemies, I think we sort of maybe sometimes take that and run with it. I think we're quick to make anybody who doesn't see things the way we do our enemy. And I think it can feel like that. In the presence of our enemies, I think would be anything that would take from us our day, that would get us closer to this being a funeral psalm instead of a life psalm. That can be a person. It can be a person doing it on purpose or not on purpose. It can also be a feeling or a thing, or it could just be an accident that happens in front of us. I would say that I am trying hard to not just classify everything as an enemy, and that there's a lot going on biblically and sometimes even in our own lives. The last thing I need is more enemies. So maybe, it's quick in this text to take that word enemies and that the table is set for us in the presence of them. Maybe it's more a reminder that God is keeping us and less a label of what's an enemy or what isn't. And I have to sort of fight myself and be prayerful about that. I will fear no evil. Well, that's fun to say because I fear evil a lot. But again, this is a psalm about being guided through our day. And it's a sort of a say it out loud so that it might happen and so that God might lead us that way. I fear no evil, for you are with me, and this is why I don't fear evil. And again, rod and staff, shepherding stuff. Maybe it's like rod and pinion. Maybe it's the safety of our cars that are getting more and more safe all the time. Whatever the image is, it's our home, it's our whatever, but a rod and a staff, things that protect us and will keep us on the path the way that we should be, even though it would be really easy, and it is really easy, to feel like we're not on it anymore. And at night, it's nice to be nudged or to be reminded of what we have that protects us, our clothes, our homes, our cars, our families. Because when we settle down into them and we're reminded to look again at that instead of what we're fearful of, we are indeed comforted. God prepares this table for us, and it comforts us. And again, it's easy to think about how it's in the presence of our enemies. And I think today, instead of worrying more about our enemies, we're worrying or hearing more about who God is. God anoints our head with oil. I take a shower and I wake up to the world, and my cup is indeed overflowing. And it feels good to affirm that, because there's so much that would have me affirm something else. Goodness and mercy follow me. It's interesting that they follow me. I guess from back there they would have my back, which is good, but maybe also they leave a little bit of a reminder of who God is and what God's done for me so that other people can enjoy it. Maybe it's a little bit of both of those things. But this is the thing that I hope that we hear and that we focus on, that we shall dwell in the house of the Lord. This house of the Lord, our homes of the Lord, our eternal homes with all the saints of the Lord, all of it, our whole life long. even today when our house, our homes, our lives feel threatened by fear and everything else. This is quite an affirmation, and I hope it's an affirmation that we can make together today, an affirmation of life, that the Lord is our shepherd and we shall not want. Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for being with us through another night. We thank you for bringing us to another day, for giving us the opportunity to shower and to awaken, to put on clothes that you've provided and live in homes and be a part of houses that you provide. We ask that today you would indeed pop up and that you would indeed shepherd us through what otherwise would make us fearful or take our attention from the goodness and the beauty that you would have us be a part of today. Gracious God, we feel like we could be off the path, or that path could be hard to find in days like this. Let us feel the nudge of your Spirit, and may that nudge of your Spirit keep us and guide us today. May we know goodness and mercy, and may others know and experience it. Remind us of the waters of our baptism, the table of the meal that we share, and that these are reminders that you do not leave, but you keep and protect us. We thank you for all that you have made and given to us to use and participate in. And we ask that our words today would be not so much a focus on what's wrong as an affirmation of all the things you have made right. And may our spirits rise like our bodies rise from the waters of our baptism. And as they rise, may you continue to remind us of how wonderful you've made our world and our lives, and how wonderful you promise to keep us today and through this day. Gracious God, we thank you again for words that go through our whole lives and come with us. And we ask that these words would have meaning for us today and always. And we do ask that you would keep us and shepherd us today. We ask all of this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. It was good seeing you again. I'm glad you joined me. I hope you stay safe. I hope you have a great rest of the day and week. And I hope to see you soon.